Hey everybody, I'm Tim and welcome to Cigars Daily Live, coming to you from sunny Phoenix, Arizona, with an age-old tale, a tale, dare I say, as old as time. Tonight, we are talking about a big one for aficionados everywhere. People who get into the world of cigars want to know about one topic that promises the moon, but doesn't always deliver. Tonight, we're talking about this. Are aged cigars worth the wait? You put in time. Uh-oh, somebody's phone is going off on the show tonight.
Is that your phone, Tim?
You know who it is? It's Billy. Listen, I'm going to tell you guys about the episode, but first I'm going to just come clean about something. This is not, I'm not proud of this. Billy told me 2 months ago that he was going to be on vacation with his family, which is what he's doing. He's texting me pictures of his trip with his family, that he was going to be off tonight. In fact, I remembered, because I'm good at remembering things, I remembered it about 20 minutes ago. And so Terrence has just found out, just like now, that him and I are doing the show together tonight. And so we are here to bring you another epic and great episode. Terrence like, this is fine. We're here to bring you a great episode together. Of course, my name is Tim. I'm the host of this show. And all of you watching at home, you are the co-host. The great news is y'all are not on vacation. You're here in force. The comments are already popping and rolling. You got over 100 of them going. I'm going to be taking your comments tonight, and I'm going to have to read them as we go. So this will be extra fun. Let's see how many comments Tim puts up that he shouldn't. That's the goal tonight. Let's keep it. Let's somebody keep tick marks of that for me. Also helping me run this show is second to none, El Rey del Terrio.
This is the smallest show we've done so far. This feels so intimate, Tim. Like, what are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about aged cigars. Okay. What goes into aged cigars? Some cigars that happen to be aged. What do you get out of that? Fortunately, there's nobody I'd rather have here with me in the cigar industry than Terrence, who is not only perhaps the most significant cigar nerd that I've encountered personally.
Ever?
Yep. And I don't know. I should say this. Like, the most significant cigar nerd that, like, I have the pleasure of calling someone that I keep, like, around in my life, like, close to my life. Like, have you ever met a cigar nerd that, like, they've crossed the line of cigar nerddom and you just can't even enjoy smoking with them anymore because it's so, like, you can't change the topic. You can be like, hey man, how's your life? And he's like, well, Placencia's put out the new Alma del Cielo. Like, everything always goes back to that topic. We all know people like that in our lives. I'm going to tell you this. My dad is this guy. My dad does missions work in Vietnam. No matter what topic you want to talk about, we're going to end up talking about ministry in Vietnam. Straight up, it's going to happen. He's a good man who's got a good heart, and he's doing a good thing. But if you don't want to talk about ministry in Vietnam, I don't know where the conversation is going to go. I'm going to tell you that much.
So he can't read the room very well. He's just kind of like, you know what? I'm here, Vietnamese ministry.
I'll say this. Some people are a product of their environment, and for other people, their environment is a product of them. That is a rough quote from Jack Nicholson from the beginning of The Departed, and my dad is that guy for Jesus. All right. I want to take all of your guys' comments at home. We have a litany of stuff going on tonight around the studio. By the way, we're also joined by the wonderful, illustrious, amazing, very boisterous Cigars Daily Live studio audience. This which is fuller than ever, so that's good. All right. Alex Kamacho is on. He says Terrence is a hoot.
Well, thank you, Alex. I appreciate
really
it.
nice.
I've never been associated with the owl before, so that's neat.
I
mean, I'm sitting next to a chicken most Mondays, but being a hoot, that works.
I think of you a lot less as an owl and then more of his other animals. I think you know that. I think you know that.
Yeah, I get that.
No, I think
from the
that.
pre-show. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, we got Amartentia Rojas in the house. He says Tim and it's number 1.
Hey,
that was some you and Allison worked that out the other night.
Yeah, I mean, I have number 1 hanging in my office. I'm the first. I have your number 1 ticket. Yeah.
Also, I'll tell you the only reason Allison, my wife, the wrench, is not here tonight is because she's also out of town. That's part of our lightheadedness. Is everybody's just out of town on vacation.
See, all right, I have to be your number 1 because I'm the one that's here with you. I'm sticking through the thick of it, no matter what. I got your back, Tim.
Through thick and thin, that I know that you do. Okay, I'm going to take your guys' comments. I have a lot to go through tonight, so I'm going to show you guys some of that. But let's go ahead and grab some stuff, Terrence. Let's go ahead and josh around with the people, if you will.
Yeah.
I saw this. I didn't pick this as a pick of the week this week, and I kind of feel bad about it. We got a member in the Cigars Daily Nation who's in the Facebook group. He dropped pictures, and I saw them. I didn't pick them. And so to Corey B, I'm sorry. Corey says, got to roll my first couple cigars with Pedro Gomez from DE last Saturday.
What?
That was awesome.
What?
That is awesome. And I'm curious to know how it goes because when it comes to the actual making and rolling of cigars, my experience has been completely this. If you go to a place where there are people rolling cigars and you want to like pick up a trick of the trade, you want them to give you a tidbit. Most importantly, I think you'd want to leave with a cigar that you rolled yourself. Even if you just put the wrapper on it, it's kind of like, here's a cigar that I rolled. That would be a special cigar, I think, in anybody's humidor. But for the most part, if you're around people who know how to smoke, who know how to roll cigars, who know how to smoke cigars, if you're around people who know how to roll cigars, I don't get very far. Like I'll start rolling it before they're like, they're all Spanish speakers. They're just like, no. And they come over and they take your hands with their hands and they like make your hands do what they want you to
like
do.
That scene from Ghosts.
It's like go. Yep. You know what? That's what it is. It's the cigar version of Ghosts.
Hey Tim, can you teach me how to roll a cigar real quick? I think it's content idea.
That I'm not really the guy for that, but yeah, we could do something like that. Corey B also said, and Oliva Nick and Rocky Patel and Eric Espinosa and Jonathan Drew were there too.
Was this the roadshow that he was at?
No. This was like a consumer deal that everybody went to. Yeah.
It's tight.
Absolutely amazing. Glad that he got to have it. There you go. But we do have some amazing pick of the weeks this week, and we're going to grab a hold of those. Now, there's a couple of cigars. We're going to talk about aged cigars. I'm going to dive into your comments. I'm reading through them as I talk. There's a couple of cigars that I was really shocked about that aged cigars have come into my life. It's one of the reasons we're talking about this. In the world of premium cigars, getting aged cigars is a good deal. Aging your own cigars, that's something that I think a lot of people like look forward to doing. Mm-hmm. You get cigars, you know that you like the cigars you get, and then eventually you're like, where's the ceiling on this thing? What's the limit of this? And so how does aging cigars work? So I'm going to give you guys kind of a tutorial here. Terrence, you can star some comments too if you happen to see some. Be my guest. But this is like the range of questions that I get about aging cigars at the very least. Number one, what is an appropriate amount of time to age a cigar? Like, what's the shortest period of time that you can age, then sort of notice a difference? And like, what's the max on this? Can you age a cigar for 40 years? I mean, but just by simple logic, if you're talking about some of the most famous cigars in the world, one very famous series of cigars, I suppose you would call it, is pre-embargo Cubans from Castro. Mm-hmm. You know, Castro very famously bought a bunch of Cubans, or not Castro, JFK, the president of the United States at the time, bought a bunch of Cuban cigars before he signed the Cuban embargo. Those cigars today would be like 70 years old. I mean, they would be ridiculously old. Is there even a ghost of a chance that a 70-year-old cigar is going to be any good to anyone anywhere? How long can you really age these things for? These are the questions that we're all going to be getting down to tonight. Rady Glenn says, what are you smoking tonight? Now, around the studio, this is what I've gotten a hold of. We got some truly aged cigars, and I'm going to tell you, I didn't expect this even a little bit. I was talking with my buddy over at Diesel Cigars, and he said, man, Tim, we got back a few projects that we thought were going to be gone forever. Limited edition projects. These ones that Justin Andrews does as like a trilogy, like he's creating the franchise of cigars, like the Marvel type thing. So one of them is the Fool's Errand, which is the Worthy Fool.
Mhm.
And then the other one is the Diesel Hair of the Dog.
And I'll put the graphic up. For
Yeah, the Diesel Hair of the Dog, which is part of another series that I don't even know what the hell it's called, but there was one called the Diesel Delirium
And the Crucible.
and the Diesel Crucible and the Hair of the Dog. Now, here's what I discovered. I sort of thought, and this happens from time to time, I'll hear about an LE project that came out, was released, and then went away very quickly. And then they come back later on and they're like, hey, this is totally around again. And I'm like, wow, I would like a lot of it because it's still limited. And then I got these cigars, and oh man, the aging on these cigars has been something truly unique. I opened up the box, and the first thing that I saw in here was unbelievable signs of aging. And I'll show you what the first one is. It is the ever coveted, so desired Yellow Cello.
That's a white piece of paper, Tim.
This is I was trying to think before the show, how am I going to show the Yellow Cello and have it not be dirty? So this is what I'm showing you in front of this piece of paper is a normal piece of cellophane. And with the studio lights, you can't even see it in front of the piece of paper. But what it is it's a clear cellophane, and that's what a cigar sits inside of. After years of aging, and this typically takes a year and a half to 2 years to start to show, the cellophane starts to absorb some of the oils from that wrapper leaf, a little bit of what's the stuff that's in the cigar, and what you end up with is dark brown cellophane. Yeah. This right here is what's coming off of the Diesel Hair of the Dog. The cellophane is dark, rich, brown. And what it shows is that this cigar at this point is from 2021 is the year of production. And I only know that because this box has the year written on the sticker on the back, 2021. And I looked through box after box after box to see. A couple of them said 2022, but almost all of them said 21. This was like a shock for me. I work with cigar makers to do a lot of different cigar projects. I've had limited edition cigars come and go and then come back, and I've gotten more. I have never gotten a project with cellophane that looks as dark and rich and like clearly aged as this. Then the next question becomes, okay, it's been aged for a few years. Then what? Were they aged well? In order to age cigars well, you have to be able to age them in good temperature and humidity conditions, where you've got some measurable amount of control over the humidity and the temperature the cigars are living in. You don't want those numbers to jump more than like 1 or 2% throughout the course of the day. You don't want huge spikes in like temperature or huge spikes in humidity. They've got to kind of like season over time. So we got these Hair of the Dog in. We started going ape wild on these things, testing them out. And Terrence, tell the people what we discovered. What was the experience like?
They are so good, man. Like
supple,
refined, satiating, all of those words, right? Where I think I smoked 1 or 2 of the Hair of the Dogs back then, and I was like, okay, that's a pretty nice cigar. It's medium body, really like just lands there. But with the age on it right now, everything's so much more crisp, so much more smooth and clear. I absolutely adore this cigar, and so I'm so happy that we were able to get them back in our grasp because goodness, like it, and I am a cigar nerd, so like I'm like, ooh, let me go find the yellow cello or find the brown cello. But this cigar definitely leveled up with that bit of age on it as well. So I definitely have a soft spot in my heart for it right now.
This one's for you, Terrence. Leave the camera on you. I'm going to give it to you. Louis says, do all cigars yellow that much? Now, you got experience with this aging the cigar stuff, bro. You know as much about it as anybody, certainly as much as I do. Tell me what you've seen in cigars. Do you notice any where the cello doesn't yellow so much?
You know, rule of thumb, there are some differences, and there's a bunch of different variables. One is the type of cellophane that there is. You know, sometimes if you get like a really thin, like cheap cellophane, it doesn't absorb the oils.
Did you ever think that you would know so much about like different types of cellophane before you got into the industry?
You know what? No.
You become like hyper aware to all these little things. You're like, oh, this cellophane is thinner. This cellophane is thicker.
Yep. Yeah. So like cellophane, that is going to be one of the like a key feature to getting yellow cello, because if your cellophane doesn't hold that oil, it's not going to turn yellow. Another thing is like the type of wrapper leaf. I'm not saying that all Connecticut's don't get yellow cello. I have seen it before, and I'm not saying all Maduros get a brown cellophane after a few years. I have a couple cigars that are like 3 or 4 years old that haven't changed the cello color whatsoever. So is this just kind of the combination of the cigar and the cellophane for it to get that color change? At least in my personal experience over the last few years.
Chris Crimmins says, "Who uses cheap cello?"
Oh, bro. Bro. I'll tell you on the after party.
Dude, everybody wants cheap cello.
Yes.
Dude, it's the thing when you deal with cigars all day long, every day, and like Terrence and I do both for different reasons because we do different things around the HQ. I take a lot of photos of cigars. So I'm always taking cigars out of the cellophane. So I always kind of get my hands on them. And like, I mean, especially in bundled cigars, you get this cellophane that's like, I don't know what to compare it to other than to say, like, you know what it feels like when you're pulling off single ply toilet paper. Cheap cello is kind of like that. You take the cello off and you're like, what the hell is this?
You know what? That was way better than what I was going to say. I was going to say like lifestyle versus Trojan.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, somebody mentioned it earlier in the show. I do my like word picture for cellophane is I say cellophane is like a condom for your cigar. Nobody likes it. Everybody likes what it does for them. That's why it's like cellophane. It's protection. And the cellophane around the cigar, it does a few things. It keeps the cigar from, the foot won't crack as easily if the cigar gets dropped. It's a moisture barrier, so it keeps them from drying out so quick. It keeps the mold or tobacco beetles from spreading if one of the cigars in the humidor gets it. There's another number of other things as well. The only downside of cellophane is that it causes the cigars, when you look at them, to look more or less sterile. Like, it's the reason that so many top tier cigars come without cellophane. Your Padron 26s and 64s, the Milanios, stuff like that. They don't put cellophane on it because it gives it a little more pomp and circumstance sitting there on the shelf. That's basically what it does. But I think it's a great thing. If I had cellophane to put on cigars, I'd put it on all my expensive cigars in order to store it. A couple more questions. Dominic Vergnetti says, nobody ever talks about this. For a cello to be that brown, one, it was packaged extremely wet, or something artificial was added to the wrapper. Dominic's a doubter. Doubting Dominic, and we're here to answer some of those questions. Terrence, what's your first fire back on that? Give me your first outlook on it.
No, I'm joking. So again, I have seen these firsthand 4 years ago where it was a clear cellophane.
Right.
I can't attest to what RH or absolute humidity the cigars were when they packaged these or when they arrived in somebody's humidor. I just know I remember they were clear 4 years ago. And now 4 years might have been, and it could be an external factor, how they sat in the same box for so long, or got sat together with other of the similar like cigars and probably a wheel or something, I'm assuming, or half wheel. Then a lot of that is all going around at the same time. So that could also add to it, rather than it's just being like a single stick in somebody's humidor. But I don't necessarily think that they're adding coloring to the cellophane.
Or packaging them too wet.
I don't think that's I don't think that's a maybe, but again, I can't attest to a cigar being over humidified straight from the factory. Like I'd rather that. So.
I'll say this. I'm going to take MN Drummers, and I want to touch on this for Dominic as well, because I think you make a fair point. MN Drummer says, a friend gave me a cigar he had for 10 years. It did not age well. There were flavor notes of old newspaper. Yuck.
Whoa, that's a great flavor note.
That's not the kind of flavor note that you're looking for exactly, right? Okay. And Mike Deffenborough asked the question that I think will help me summarize this, especially for Dominic. Mike Deffenborough says, would you go for a yellow cello over something else you were looking for simply because of the age? So here's a question. Does yellow cello mean that there's like something special going on there? I would say not necessarily. It's not a given. It's not a guarantee that yellow cello is the thing that you want to go for. If I was specifically looking for a cigar and I saw something with some age on it, it would depend on what that cigar really is. Dude, a guy in the Facebook group, I don't even know if we pulled it as a pick of the week a few weeks ago, but in the Facebook group, he posted these Padrones that had yellow cello on them. And he said that they rocked. So in a case like that, that would be a thing that's like, if it's a cigar I know I really enjoy and would enjoy some more age on it, then I would be inclined to. But also, you have to consider where that cigar is coming from.
Mhm.
Like I said, in order to get good age out of a cigar,
Yeah.
where that age gives you what you would expect to get in the, like, this is always my metaphor for this, but the 18-year Macallan or the double cask aged whatever, or the 1998 vintage wine or whatever it is that like is super smooth that represents that for you. I would have to know that the cigar is the kind of cigar I'm looking for, that it was in a situation that was well maintained. And you'll more or less know that about the humidor, hopefully, that you're going into. And if you don't know it, you might be a little bit skeptical. The reason that for us, this was such a treat is because when I got these diesel hair of the dog, that the cellophane was so unbelievably yellow on them, the first thing I did was take one out and light it up.
Yeah.
Because either we just hit a major windfall or we got a big problem and I need like a call tag. I need to send some of these back. And so the first thing that I did was get some out and start lighting them up. And the question is this: is what I'm getting out of this cigar a better, like an improvement on what there originally was from Hair of the Dog, what the blend was like when it originally came out? And I've seen projects where this has not been the case. I'm gonna actually name these projects off for you guys because I don't think they're around anymore. When I very, very first got into the cigar industry, I did I worked at a place, and in their warehouse there, they had these ceramic jars of like Monte Cristos from the 90s.
Ooh.
And this warehouse needed a little bit of love. And so I took one, and the cigars, by the time I smoked, I think that this video is probably still on Cigars Daily Plus on the community over there, where I smoked a 21-year-old cigar, and it was not good. It was like you could have rolled up some cotton balls and gotten a better flavor experience than what I got out of this cigar. Similarly, when I first started Cigars Daily, I bumped into a shop that had some old CAO Sopranos. And this was right after CAO had released the CAO Consigliere, which was the same blend. So I ended up with a Soprano that was so many years old and a brand new Consigliere. And I did a video comparing those two. I'm certain that video is still on the community on Cigars Daily Plus. And it was like the humidor that I got that CAO Soprano out of was really bad. At the time, I got, your like bleh, puking emoji. Stay away from aged jars from Andrew S. I'm assuming there's a double entendre there that I'm missing. Now, for a long time, I proposed this, and this is what I sort of preached, and my mind has changed on it, that you could age a cigar, sort of the beginning zone where aging looks really good is around 4 months. If you age a cigar in a humidor for 4 months, you should begin to be able to notice some variety in the level of balance, smoothness, sort of refined nature of that blend. And I used to say that it was kind of up to a few years. In my mind, if you go beyond a few years, it was like that Monte Cristo that I tried that apparently had been poorly kept. It was like the CAO Soprano. All of this was right up until I got hold of, from a member of the Cigars Daily Nation, who, by the way, is coming to visit me. I'm very excited. The inventor of the Choco Taco. He sent me some Cuban Davidoff #1 Lanceros.
You said what size?
The Lanceros.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When it comes to like 40-plus-year-old cigars, you don't get to pick the size, and you don't bitch about it when you get them.
All I'm saying is you've been complaining this whole time. Lancero in 2 days, and you're women. Oh, but now one of your most coveted cigars is a Lancero now, huh?
It is on the top shelf in my humidor. Yes.
Yeah. Ain't that something?
Ain't that something? But these cigars are 40-plus years old, and the one I smoked blew me away. There was this Nissan, how dare you? He says the best size. The flavor was like clean, vivid, vibrant, lots to taste in the profile. It still had some pepper and punch to it. Jake Roberts says Tim loves Lanceros. This is not the point that I was trying to make. I'll tell you this. Thanks, Terrence. Appreciate you. I'll tell you this. The idea that Lancero. This is so dumb. The idea that Lanceros are good is a complete myth. No, the idea that you can age a cigar for longer than a couple, 2 or 3 years, that you can age them for a very long time, seems to have a lot of validity to me if you have good control.
Yes.
So no, I would not. So first of all, to answer Dominic Vernetti, I think you could be right. I think that is one thing that could be the case. If a cigar gets too wet, the cellophane will likely age, a little bit quicker, or things are done to make it look like they're aging. But a lot of the time in the world of cigars, I'll tell you, this happens. People go into a cigar project. They have a vision for something they want to create. The cigars get rolled, and then something unexpected happens. They can't foot the bill. They can't receive the cigars. They're changed directions, and those cigars end up sometimes rolled, sometimes with packaging on them, and they end up just sitting. There are whole projects that are based on clearing out warehouses of old cigars, and some of these end up being very aged cigars. And I'll tell you, that's a real thing. Like the quality of a long aged cigar is very good. Doing this yourself, though, I think it requires just a little bit of attention to detail. Yeah. Here are a few tips, and then we got some pick of the weeks to get to. And Terrence, feel free to grab a couple comments if you want to in the midst of this. I see everybody leaving them. I want to get to everybody as much as I can. Somebody asked a really good question there. If you're gonna do, gosh, just stop taking Lancero comments, Terrence.
Sorry,
Lancero's for life. So when it comes to aging your own cigars, here are some tips and tricks that I would give you. Number one, labeling is key.
Oh, yes.
Some people will take a piece of paper and they'll write the date they got the cigar, maybe where they got the cigar from, and any pertinent details that they want, and they'll tape that around the cigar. Other people, I've seen them make little tags that like stick off the cigar. I don't care how you do it. Some people write on the cellophane with a Sharpie. I think that's fine to do as well. So labeling the cigars up front gives you the opportunity to age stuff and keep track of the relevant information. I've seen people who keep spreadsheets about what's in their humidor. I think that's super hot. I love spreadsheets. They give me special feelings in my nether regions.
Yes, they do.
But if you just, Terrence knows. I got spreadsheets.
I'm the one who has to fill out some of these spreadsheets to send over to Tim. And he'll put like a winky face on the response email. I hate having to do the spreadsheets. I just like the satisfaction that he gets from it. But as somebody who has all these spreadsheets on my computer, Tim loves spreadsheets.
I love spreadsheets and I love data. Ooh. Anyway, beside the point. So keeping track of what you got, then come up with a way to monitor the progress of the cigars that you're aging. So if let's say that there's a box of 20 cigars sitting in the humidor and you got them all on, February 1st, 2025, you put that on each of the cigars. And as you go through them, maybe even just a piece of paper that goes into that box where each time you light one up, you sit down and write the date that you actually lit it up. And what was that experience like? Some people will keep that in their own journal, but just give yourself a running tally of what did you experience and how did it change over time. If you're going to smoke one of those cigars after 4 months, maybe you smoked one the day that you got the box to give yourself a baseline. And then after 4 months, you're like, okay, what did 4 months do to this type of blend out there? Then you pick another 8 months or a year or something like that. And you'll see very clearly over time exactly how this changes your experience. There you have it. Those are some thoughts. Terrence, what do we got?
These guys are funny in the comments. This is my first time ever being able to see comments in the lives.
A lot more, huh?
Oh my gosh, you guys are funny. I can't put any of it on the screen. Okay. They are funny, but I think I got a couple starred right now. So if you give me
I'm going to jump over to the starred one. I'll take your starred comments here.
Dan Elting, he says QR codes. That might be a way to be able
QR codes are for virgins. Let's just say it. QR codes are for
after party, Tim. After party.
Yeah. Well, I say that as the only guy in the room who has a collection that's represented entirely by QR codes.
Yes.
My collection of dinosaur fossils is well documented through a set of scannable QR codes on your phone that I force people who visit my house to scan with their phone because I have no friends because I'm here all the time. All right, what else?
Bean Dip has a pretty fun comment. He says, aged in metal tubo ended up tasting like pocket change.
There's an interesting one.
How long did he take it out the set? Again, when it comes to the aging, there's a myriad of things that you have to think about. Did you take it out of the cellophane into the tubo or then put it back into the tubo? Or was it just like that? Did he not unscrew the cap from the tubo?
It is, if anything, it does speak to the nature that cigars have. To like people, we're like the people we hang out with. What's the saying? Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Show me your cigars in your humidor and I'll show you what they're going to taste like in 5 years. I mean, and if you've got them around other stuff, like you got a flavored cigar sitting next to the traditional cigar, it's going to taste like a groovy blues at some point.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, if you keep it in a metal tube, I would think that some degree or another, especially if that tube oxidizes in any way, shape, or form, yeah, maybe that leaches into the cigar. That's a really good one. Okay. I want to keep grabbing some more of these. Is barrel aged a real thing that adds flavor? So aging is the topic of the conversation tonight. Terrence is going to keep an eye out for some more comments. And I do have some headlines I want to hit, Terrence.
Mhm.
We have some pick of the week, and also the soldiers have sent us some pictures. We're going to get some pictures from
Wonderful.
the troops. So there's two different ways that barrel aging is done. Terrence, do you care to touch on one more than the other?
Can you say that one more time? I was reading. I feel like Billy
That's okay.
right
There's
now.
two different ways barrel aging is done.
Mhm.
One of them is called barrel aging.
Mhm.
The other one is called barrel fermenting. And
Yeah.
you go ahead and read comments, Terrence. I'll go ahead and touch on these.
Yes, sir.
If you look at, and it's not super clear how these get broken down. So all of them are the same as what I got this Billy's barrel over my shoulder right here. This was a level 3 charred bourbon barrel from Oso Distillery here in Arizona. They gave me this barrel, which I used with diesel cigars to do a barrel aging project. I barrel aged some Habano binder leaf inside of this barrel for 6 months. There's a whole series on the community on Cigars Daily Plus about how that project went. And the barrel aging legitimately is about giving the leaf an extra set of age and obtaining some of that like flavor character that the barrel has to offer. What I found after aging Habano, Ecuador Habano
Mhm.
binder leaf inside this barrel is that it brought about this brilliance, this sweetness to the flavor that wasn't there before. So I kept some of that just in the same way that I told you guys how like this good method for aging cigars at home. I kept track of the process of aging. I kept track of the temperature and everything that was going on in the barrel, but I also kept some of that binder leaf for a baseline. So every time that I would take some out and I would just roll up the one leaf and make a little purito or a churrito or whatever you want to call it, a fuma. And I would try that fuma. I had an original unbarrel aged fuma to compare my barrel aged one with.
Mhm.
And over time, those barrel aged leaves just picked up this like this bourbony sweetness
Yeah.
that was in the barrel. So that's barrel aging. And a lot of brands will say barrel aged, but there's this other sense that's called barrel fermenting. And barrel fermenting is different than aging in that the goal of fermenting is always heat. The goal with fermenting is you stack the leaf together. Typically, they do it in pilones. It's
Mhm.
about 2,000 pounds of leaf stacked up that naturally heats up. It opens up the pores of the leaf. It releases the impurities like ammonia. It causes the leaves to actually start to biodegrade a little bit, which, just like aging a cigar, smooths out that flavor and like gives you that prime flavor that you're looking for in a leaf that you want to roll.
Mhm.
They'll do oftentimes a fermentation in a pilone. And if they're going to ferment the leaf again, they'll sometimes do this in these charred bourbon barrels. And when they do this, the goal is not to like imbibe the leaf with the same flavor of the bourbon, but instead to stack it in there tightly in a way that that leaf heats up again and releases even more of those imperfections. It's another fermentation. And instead of absorbing whiskey flavor notes, the goal is to release what's in the leaf so that it comes cleaner, crystal clear, more like aged type flavor.
Mhm.
So those are the difference. Barrel aged is very different than barrel fermenting, and they don't necessarily produce the same results.
There we
I
go.
hope that's clear
fair.
for
Yeah.
MM. All right, Terrence, was that clear?
I think it was fairly clear. Yeah.
Rich Chateau says, "Who's the nerd now, Terrence?" I'm not sure how to take that. Thank you, Rich.
Hey, I had to learn something from somebody. And most of my information comes from this guy. He just doesn't remember that he made those videos. Like maybe like some flavor notes or some stuff like that came from like Half Wheel or other reviews, but good 85% of what I know is that guy over there.
I would say that I've forgotten more than I know, but I've forgotten how much I've forgotten. So it's an unquantifiable amount.
Oh yeah.
Fortunately, the videos exist. The videos are proof that I was there at one point. Dear God. All right. I'm going to take some more comments from everybody watching at home.
Yes,
Whether you're watching on YouTube, Rumble, or on the community on Cigars Daily Plus, drop your comments down below. We're going to be headed in a little while to the after party on Cigars Daily Plus and on Rumble. I want to get some of these from you guys. Dude, everybody's like honed in at home and asking questions about the topic. And it's a lot less like fart and poop jokes. And I appreciate you guys.
Your comments are different than mine.
Are they really?
Oh, my comments are nasty. Nasty. Y'all need to go to the big house on Sunday because that's crazy. I see what y'all talking about. I see why Billy over here be turning red and giggling all night. Y'all
love it.
Y'all need Jesus.
Luke Martineau says, how many times do you use the same barrel and aging leaf before you would need to replace it? This is a reason I've actually seen some barrel-aged projects go away, and I don't know the exact answer to that. I don't know if there is a specific answer to that or like a range of answers. Some factories may use the barrels 3 times to age or ferment before they say, all right, we've sort of gotten as much out of this barrel as we can. Other factories might use them more like 5 or 6 times for their purposes. It really depends on what they're looking to do and what they're looking to get out of the leaf. So I don't know, but from what I've heard talking to guys that do the barrel thing, 5 or 6 seems to sort of be the limit on that.
Yep.
So like, think about it this way. If you're a cigar maker who's going to do a barrel aged project, and for the sake of argument, let's say that barrel aged project is a regular production, not limited edition. You're going to make these cigars ongoing every year. You got to have a permanent, constant source for barrels. And when I say permanent, constant source, I mean a place that routinely has level whatever, probably level 3 charred barrels with a particular type of bourbon that comes out of them that they're going to routinely send to your factory in Nicaragua, probably, or Honduras. Like, they got to be there all the time. It is no small thing to say, like, we're doing a barrel aged line. And it, like, when I learned about all this stuff, it gave me a new appreciation for stuff like Diesel's Whiskey Row and their Founders Collection, Perdomo's Habano Bourbon Barrel Aged. And also you can see why things like Kamacho's American Barrel Aged and Nicaraguan Barrel Aged
and Stout Barrel Aged
and the Stout Barrel Aged, like all that stuff's all gone. If you see it out there in the wild, it's not supposed to be there. It's a unicorn. So
it might have some yellow cello by now, unfortunately.
It might have some yellow cello.
I told you how I found some old, because they're discontinued now, the Kamacho Candelas.
Oh, wow.
I found Kamacho Candelas, same place that you found the Sopranos at, actually.
What color were those?
So the cellophane still clear, but the cigars were not Candelas anymore. They had so much light exposure.
Were they Connecticut's?
They were Connecticut.
Yep.
And they weren't green. I sat there. I was like, that's a Camacho Connecticut, but it has a green band on it. That's so weird. And I looked at the band and the barcode on the back. I was like, no, this says it was a Candela. So that might mess with your aging a little bit if you don't have the box for your Candelas.
Lou Camacho says, I want to know how you can tell that the aging cigars is in its prime. Please help. All caps. Thank you very much for that, Louis.
That's like 14 exclamation points.
He really wants to know, and we're here to help. Dear God. Again, so when is an aging cigar in its prime? Is this cigar right here? Is the cellophane when it becomes this yellow? Does that mean the cigar is in its prime? I honestly don't know. Maybe it's like 6 years. You know, this right here represents 4-ish years. Okay. Yeah. Maybe this is ideal for the cigar. I'll tell you this. There are cigars, and I made a short video about this recently. There are cigars where it's like people will say, oh, the cigar tastes a little bit young. Like the cigar could use some age to it. Mm-hmm. And this is a cigar will taste young to a cigar aficionado if there is like some like unrefined aspect to the flavor. If you light up a cigar and there's a taste a little bit like an ammonia or something like that, that just means the cigar's probably not fermented, maybe aged as well as it could. So aging that cigar would be a prime thing to do. But that cigar is going to age very differently than if you take another cigar that's appropriately aged and age it. So what I would say legitimately about telling how aged a cigar is and what's the right time, every cigar maker is shooting to put cigars on the shelf that are aged, ready to go. Like it is, they'll all tell you this, and I'm speaking on their behalf here, but none of them are looking to put cigars in the hands of aficionado that are going to sit there. They want to make cigars that people are going to enjoy for their special occasions in their lives. That being said, if you do find a cigar that you want to age, like if you have a 5-pack of them or a box of them, like labeling them when you got them and then kind of keeping track of how they're aging over time is the best way to do it. Because there's no conclusive answer to say like, oh, 4 years is the ideal to age a cigar. 8 years. It might be different for my father's cigars for you than it would be with AJ Fernandez cigars. The Garcia family and AJ Fernandez do things differently when it comes to fermenting and aging leaf before it's rolled. So you might find that there's like a bell curve here or a graded scale that you could put these things on.
Yeah.
Terrence, am I missing anything on that, bro?
Not necessarily. I do want to touch probably back on like when you're saying making sure if you're trying to age your own cigars at home, make sure everything's dialed in. Because you could have a humidor that fluctuates humidity and temperature all the time, and that could lead to your cigar just completely losing everything. Like I've unfortunately had that happen. I had a desktop humidor that was terrible in Phoenix, and I tried to like age some cigars in there, and by the time I got to them, they tasted nothing like what they were supposed to. Nothing close to what they originally started off as, and just lost everything. But then I went back, got more of them, and then tried doing something similar with like a thermoelectric or something that's a little bit more of in a controlled environment, and that helped out tremendously. Again, back with the crisp, cleaner, more creamy kind of smoke textures and all of that. So I definitely do recommend like honing in on humidity and temperature. I'm extremely weird. I keep my humidor at home. One's at 60. That's my like ready to smoke humidor, and my long term, like I just get the box, put it in there, forget about it kind of humidor. That's at 55%. And I just let it rock. I have all my humidity really low. Temperatures don't go anywhere above 70 degrees in my humidors, and I just know that they're always going to be at a constant. So I know I have I usually crack a box, might have one, and then that's my control, and then I keep going every 6 months or year and get the different variables after that.
All right, we've clearly not answered all the questions on aging yet, but we want to. We're going to get to as many of them as we can tonight, but I got a couple things I want to take you guys through. And first, we're going to do a segment we do every week on this show called the Cigars Daily Nation Pick of the Week. Now, this is where we take images, posts that people have made in the Cigars Daily Nation Facebook group, and we make fun of them. Much in the same way that happens when you go sit in a cigar lounge and there's some good-natured ball busting. For the most part, it's good-natured. Let's take them down. I want the first one this week. This one's from Ricky B. Is Ricky who posted last week that we picked on really hard for this?
I don't think so. No, I think that was Rich.
Yeah, that was Rich. What Ricky said, Ricky's got a beautiful picture of what appears to be a fermentada, and he says that it is very blurred out with a very in focus background of probably his house and a beautiful green lawn, by the way. Wow. For some reason, he is extremely far away from his porch. So I have to assume that somebody over by that house does not want him over there smoking, or he's in one of these parts of the country that some of you people live in where you like don't have fences between your house.
What you mean, you people?
I mean you people. I mean you people all over the country. Have you guys been to like the Midwest where there's like rows of houses that have no fences in between them?
Texas be like that sometimes. I know what you're talking about too.
Oklahoma.
See,
like,
good-natured ball busting.
Good-natured ball busting. What do you mean, you people? Ricky B says, in the tradition of the pick of the week last week, smoking the La Fermentada with a clear background. Crazy, he says. Crazy. Well, thank you for posting that. I got to tell you, if there's one thing I respect, it's boomer photography, and that's what that is at its finest. All right, next pick of the week coming up from Terrence R. Terrence R. looks very much like he's in the warehouse of Aganorsa Leaf in Miami with a peppered gray beard. I got to say that beard is substantially more peppered than I thought it was going to be. He's got, he says Monday validation begins with the JFR 20th anniversary. Look at that guy looking a little bit old before his time. And I'm willing to bet, if I had to bet, and I'm not much of a betting man, but if I was, I would say that that's the greatest day of his life. Or it was when he took it.
Why are you picking on Terrence Riley right now?
Why wouldn't I pick on Terrence? He picks on me. That dude picks on me more than anyone in the cigar industry.
I don't know. Again, like, why are you don't got to come for his looks. He doesn't come at your looks. He just wants to make sure you're wearing that sweet jacket, Tim.
And again, nobody has yet to prove that I'm not. But the truth is, he looks a little peppered. I'm just saying the beard's a little peppered. I don't even feel like that's very, I don't even feel like that's
it sounds like you a little salty.
Your says that's a beard. It's Put that back up. That's more of a beard than I can grow. I'll just
Likewise.
put that out right now.
Likewise.
Yeah, no, that's a healthier beard than anything that's going to grow on my face. So, okay. David asked, Tim, isn't that the guy who's trying to kill you? Put him back up there. Did something happen with Terrence Riley that I don't know about? Did he take a hit out on me?
He said a box of La Validaciones for anybody who brings me Tim heads on a plate.
Terrence Riley. Terrence Riley. Hey, man, just checking to see if you took a hit out on me. Period. Question came up on Cigars Daily Live and just wanted to be sure. Period. Okay. I'm just going to check. If he texts me back, I'll let you guys know. That's uncomfortable. I mean, if somebody takes a hit out on you, you at least want to know about it. All right, there you go. And last picture right here. This is talking specifically about aging cigars.
Ooh.
This one caught me mid-scroll. I'm doom scrolling the Facebook group, looking at all the pictures of cigars on there. This cigar, if you haven't seen, this one's from Joe P. He says, Kamacho, triple Maduro, has a spicy cedar chocolate and a light leather flavor. This is very smooth. I've been sitting on this one, aging for a number of years and enjoying the start of my vacation. I'm going to tell you guys this. If you are new to cigars, when I say new to cigars, I mean like you've been into cigars for the less than 15 years. Okay, that's considered new right now. You won't recognize this as a Kamacho cigar, but this is exactly what all Kamacho cigars used to look like.
Yeah. When
I first got into the cigar industry, we'll put that one back up, Terrence. Be ready on it.
Okay.
When I first got into the cigar industry, I worked at a brick and mortar, and this brick and mortar had a ton of aging inventory. It was a particularly poorly run company. It was in danger of kind of going out, and I just worked there part-time. But in one of the shops, we had boxes and boxes of these Kamacho triple Maduros with this old school looking band on it. And as I kind of got into the industry and started learning, like I had one at one point, and people in the industry started being like, how do you have that Kamacho? Where did that come from? Like they stopped making that like years ago. When Davidoff purchased Kamacho, they completely redesigned the entire look of Kamacho.
Yeah.
And so one of the first things I learned about the industry is that old school Kamachos all looked like the pick of the week right here that Terrence is putting up. They looked just like that right there. And so that is it, by the way, an 11/16 size, which is a special type of figurado, a very special aged cigar that Joe has clearly been sitting on when he says a number of years, for a number of years. We might even be talking double-digit years right here. That's real special.
That cigar, for a fact, don't taste young. It did, for a fact. No ammonia. Oh my gosh. I was telling Tim when I saw that picture earlier today, I have never seen a Kamacho, an old school Kamacho in person. And I'm all over the place. I'm looking everywhere, digging in everybody's humidors. Never seen a Kamacho with that band on there. So that's some old stuff right there.
All right, let's keep cruising. I don't want to pull that one, Jeremy. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna skip that one.
Are they being bad again?
Mark A says Saka bullies Tim. That's true.
That's
what do you mean? He swapped
really nice
places with me for an after party and literally picked apart everything I've done wrong for like a year.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Is there justice in the fact that he does that, Terrence?
Yeah. It feels good to watch.
All right. Let's see.
Especially since Saka doesn't let me make eye contact when we're in the same room. It's weird.
Look at the ground, Terrence. Mike Deffenborough says the contract read, "Bring me the bald-headed cigar fool, and I shall reward you greatly." We'll see. I don't even know if Terrence Riley is out there. He probably trying to cover up his tracks right now would be my guess. Chris Krim says, "Hey Tim, where do you live?" Asking for a friend. These guys, listen, so you know, these guys who are watching the show, they would come do this for like a 5-pack as their gift. Like that would be the requirement. They'd be like, "Yeah, it's fine." John says it's called constructive criticism. That's true. All right. Another big thing here at the Cigars Daily HQ. By the way, keep dropping your cigar comments and questions down below. Terrence is going to grab them. I'm going to grab them as well. Terrence, I'll thumb through these pictures. Will you read some comments and star them for me? Just because I want to make sure we keep eyes engaged on the comments. One of the things that we do here at Cigars Daily is Boofy bullied Billy. That's true. That did happen. But he was also quite cordial to him.
Yes.
We want to see cigars. How do I say this? What's an appropriate way to say this? You know who deserves a good cigar? Our fine men and women who defend our country. And so it's always trouble to connect these people with cigars, especially because there's a law passed saying that cigar manufacturers, purveyors of cigars, are not allowed to make a donation to these people. They're not allowed to do it. The cigars, by law, are required to be, transmitted to these people via a purchase. That being said, it's always been my dream to see people who are getting cigars, who are serving our country, be people who are the frontmost runners, people who are in danger, people who are on the front lines. I don't know, tell you guys where these pictures come from. I don't always get told where these pictures come from. And I'm always looking to bring you guys up to date when I get new information. And I got these. These are people who are beneficiaries of the Cigars Daily Nation. God, I hope I said all that right. Here we go. Take some look. Men and women in green. I don't know. They're not in blue. What color is it, Murf? Camo. Men and women in camo who are enjoying cigars. And you know what? They're outside the United States. Here they are sitting out underneath the hazy sky of some damn country somewhere. These are the guys and gals. We have worked with our own solution. This isn't any kind of a nonprofit thing. But here these guys are sitting there. And I want to read for you this. Hold on. I wrote this and then I didn't print it off because I'm dumb. Here is the actual letter that I got from these people. I'll leave this up here while I'm reading this to you guys. Doof Media. All right, there you go. Take a look at these guys right here. I'm going to read this to you in drill sergeant because this is how it's written. Good evening, sir. My team and I are nearing the end of our deployment. Your cigars provided many a time and chance to boost morale and relax from a long day's work. Attached, you will find some photos of us smoking them. When I return to the United States, I'll send you a CY patch to you in the mail. Thank you. I hope these pictures find you well. Was that sufficiently sufficiently drill sergeanty for us?
You sound like Sergeant Slaughter from WWE.
Yeah, that's as close to battle as I've ever gotten right there. There you go. And Michael Bridgman says, my cigar journey started in Abu Dhabi with cigars for troops donation. Well, that donation part sounds illegal, but it sounds good that you got a hold of them. I'm glad that you did.
I put that one up because it's somebody's journey started all because of the kindness of somebody sending out a cigar to them.
Yeah, and that's a great comment to pull up. I think there's a lot in the cigar world. There's a lot of reasons that people get into cigars. I think if you push people to their limits, which tours of duty tend to do, deployment. That's a good word. If you push people to limits, anything you can do to relieve that tension seems to become a powerful thing. A cigar it's not alcohol, so you can do it on a base, and there's a hell of a lot of other things that help you cut the tension that are against protocol. Yeah, against general orders, like alcohol and hardcore drugs and me love you long time. Ray De Leon says, more like Major Pain. I'll take Major Pain.
You're bald. I get it.
Great movie, by the way. That was a solid call down. All right. Are there any more questions that you guys have at home about aging cigars, aged cigars? Once again, we've got the Hair of the Dog from Diesel here that had 5 years of age on it and produced this extremely yellow cello. We're going to continue talking about these on the community, on Cigars Daily Plus for the after party, and on Rumble. We also have the re-release of the Fool's Errand. This one we didn't talk about this one as much because the age on this one has just gone past 1 year. And so these are sort of primed for a little bit more aging. And I'll probably be doing some of those projects like I mentioned, writing down on the cigar what it is. But these ones are those short, fat perfectos that everybody seems obsessed with doing. Somebody much earlier in the show said, Tim, which do you prefer, the Hair of the Dog or the Worthy Fool, the Fool's Errand? I'll tell you that the consensus among the studio audience, I saw nods before the show, that the Fool's Errand was grabbed some attention. People are holding them up right now yeah. But personally, as a box press Toro guy, the hair of the dog is the one that I'm like infatuated with. But I also see these short, fat perfectos, and I'm like, man, but I treat them like Lanceros.
Oh,
I guess I'm kind of a purist. Robusto and Toro for me are acceptable, but if it's a short, fat cigar or a long, skinny cigar, I'm like, who hurt you? Who didn't love you when you were a little, just a binder and filler? Everyone. All right, here we go. Let's see. I'm gonna grab some of these here, Terrence, and we'll do some. If we have time, we're gonna do some headlines as well.
Okay.
Padilla says, "Love that stick so much," and I agree with you. You're right there.
Ooh, Dan with a great. Comment.
I'm sorry. Put that one back up.
No, it's okay.
Hair of the dog, Lancero. Dan, first of all, Dan Elting is sitting close enough that I could throw something at him right now. He's right over my shoulders. No.
Down boy.
Let's see. Okay. Benji Gray says, aging improve flavored cigars like Drew Estate cigars. So again, Drew Estate is one of the largest maker of infused cigars out there. And it's completely different than the whole traditional side of Drew Estate, where they make their Connecticut's and their Habanos and their broadleafs and all this kind of stuff. This the Undercrown, Liga Privada, and all that. So we'll set all of the traditional stuff aside and just talk about the infused side of Drew Estate. I would think that aging infused cigars is going to cause that infusion to become quite muted. Like, so when we talk about like the aging process for a cigar, straight up, you're looking to benefit from the decay that's going on to some degree, for lack of a better term, the breakdown of these leaves. As this breaks down, a little bit of off-gassing happens. It releases any impurities. Like those leaves meld over time. That flavor profile can become really quite a bit more balanced.
Mm-hmm.
The extra infusion that's added to the cigars, that is not something that I think will age well. If I was a betting man, I'd be betting on infused cigars losing that infusion over time. And what you may very well get is a better balance between the added sweetness of an infusion and the like premium flavor profile that would come if you never flavored that cigar in the first place. I know some people who are looking for that balance. There are a few infused cigars that offer a decent balance between a traditional flavor profile and like an extra sweet infusion.
Mm-hmm.
And my Macanudo seems to do a pretty damn reasonably good job about that. But like Tobacco Especial from Drew Estate, that thing is like, it's like a sugary sweet.
I call it the Starbucks coffee of cigars.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Terrence. I appreciate that. You're exactly right. And that would be one where I would expect the sweetness to taper off after a while and the rest of the experience to sort of refine itself for you. Amartincha Rojas in here says, my wife has been aging cheroots for almost a year. Is she done? Please weigh in. No. Cheroots, they need more than a year. They need like a century.
He's like, it's taking up. She has 10 packs of cheroots in my humidor.
It's taking up all this.
It's taking up all the space. I can only put one bull moose in my humidor right now.
All this god darn that they leave no space up in there.
Taking all our space took their job.
That space took their job. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Mark A said, Tim, did you keep any of the CD Atonement? Somebody asked earlier if the Desert Walker is a less aged version of the Atonement. No, that's not what the Desert Walker is at all. The Desert Walker is the steamy love child of the diesel vintage Maduro and the Founders Collection Boxer Grail.
Mm-hmm.
And it is basically a perfect mashup of those two cigars.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have more of them for me in September.
Do you remember?
I'm crushed by this. Crushed by it. All right. Cigars, beer, and food says the cigar will mellow and lose flavor. And that, LA, not a bad thing. I don't think, this is my thing. Forever, I thought that if you age a cigar for more than 2 or 3 years, it will mellow and it will lose flavor. And I legitimately at this point believe that depends largely on the condition in which it was kept.
Yeah.
The diesel hair of the dog, I can tell you this, after 4 years, the experience is much improved for me. I mean,
Agreed. Yeah.
did some parts of the flavor mellow? Yeah. Like spice and pepper are really the only things that mellowed out of the entire profile. Everything else just hits this extra clean, like refined. And I hesitate to use the word smooth because so many people, when you say the word smooth in cigar flavor, they associate that with no flavor.
Yeah.
If you call a cigar smooth, they're like, oh, it must be this. The flavors are so subtle that I'm not even going to get them. So no, they want bright, vibrant flavors. An aged cigar can still present flavors that, while being clean, are bright and vibrant, like my Davidoff number ones. I'm not going to talk about the size, but I'm going to talk about that. But yes, I think mellowing is a reasonable expectation, but not necessarily lose flavor. They might lose flavor. They might not. There you go. Anything else to add to that, Terrence?
I know we're at the end of the episode, but it's a balancing act for sure, because like Tim said, it rounds out the flavors a little bit more. You're not going to get any of that. If you start off with a really bold cigar with like throat gripping, like pepper and like spice and strength, that definitely smooths out a little bit. It might still be able to retain a little bit of that, but you want to bring that down. And then some of the other flavors have more time to shine. Brings more balance. It's like a dance act where everybody gets their own solo and their own time to perform on the stage. And it's about like balancing the degradation of the leaf as well as making sure that the impurities and whatever of the fermentation process are able to 1000% come out of the cigar. And I know I'm getting really nerd 1000 level, like
I love it so much.
Dark
right now,
part
dude.
of the iceberg right now, right? But it's a balancing act because you are just storing dead leaves after all. And so you want to make sure that you're able to break that down, have the flavors meld together, get smoother. But you also want to make sure that you're paying attention to those details to make sure that what makes that cigar still stays that cigar after a long period of time.
And Cigars Beer Food says, I was talking about flavored cigars, which, if that's the case, and I took your thing out of context, then yes, you are completely right. Yeah, they do mellow and lose flavor. Then thank you, Cigars Beer Food. And there's only one thing I can correct Terrence on in everything that you just said. And that's the first thing you said, even though now we're at the end of the episode. We are actually not at the end of the episode. We are going to go to the after party right now, though. This is where we're going to continue this episode. We're going to do that on Rumble and on the community on Cigars Daily Plus. You can learn more about aging cigars and some of the benefit, like what aging cigars has to offer the average aficionado and their collection. At the end of the day, are aging cigars worth the wait? That's the question we're looking to get at tonight. We're going to do this show uncensored. We're going to end it now on Facebook and on YouTube. But if you want to join us on Rumble and on Cigars Daily Plus, that community is our own online community where you can sign up easy and free. It requires like a name, username, and email, and a password. That's basically it. It lets you in. You can watch this episode there, and we're going to keep taking all of your comments. And thank you. And Billy will be back next week to do what he does on this show. So, which is another
chocolate smear.
Chocolate smear. And El Poop Hole. That's still my favorite one, El Poop Hole. All right, guys. Stay tuned for another great episode next week. Otherwise, we'll see you all in the after party.
And live your lives.